Okay, everybody, welcome back to my channel. And today we've got another video for you that we are going to watch from Swagkage. This one talking about dissecting Sasuke Uchiha. Now, I said that we were going to be back to watching these dissecting videos from Swagkage, where he takes certain characters and he sort of breaks them down, gives his opinions on what's going on, their thought process and everything. So the last one we watched was dissecting Madara Uchiha. This time we were going to be watching him dissecting one of the two main protagonists of the series. So let's not waste any time. Let's just go ahead and play the video. Oh, and before we watch the video, as always, guys, I have to remind you that if you want to support the channel, just consider leaving a like, sharing this video, and also please consider subscribing if you are new here, and also leave a comment down below with your thoughts on either the video, my own personal opinion that I share with you guys here in this video, and also just leave me your own opinion on the character itself. Just let me know, whatever it is. So let's go ahead and watch the video in 3, 2, 1.
Oh boy, Sasuke Uchiha. If the comments on my last video talking about him didn't indicate this
Don't worry, we'll be watching this one soon.
already for you, he's quite a controversial character to say the very least. The fandom cannot come to a consensus about him, with one chunk of it hating him, one chunk of it worshipping him, and the other chunk not really caring either way. Now, I'll do my best to keep personal biases out of this video, since as many of you know, I do really like Sasuke as a character, but that might be a little easier said than done in a video of this format. I will say right off the bat that I do think Sasuke is incredibly complex, and while that's only based on my own interpretations of his actions and words, I do think that at some point anyway, Kishimoto did intend for Sasuke to be one of the most grounded, human, and three-dimensional characters that the series had to offer. Now, I can totally see why many people view Sasuke as a flat, jerk-ass Gary Stu who puts no thought into his actions and acts unreasonably and completely haphazardly, but at the same time, I wholeheartedly disagree with the idea, and I think that the people who do see him like this don't really understand his motivations or the way he thinks. Anyway, enough opinions. Let's get into the actual meat of this video and start breaking Sasuke down. The best place I can think to start with is Sasuke's relationship with his brother Itachi and how this relationship affected his motivations throughout the series. At the beginning of the story, Sasuke's one and only goal was to kill Itachi, and that was that. It was such a major part of his character that we are introduced to him with this in mind. Now, he doesn't specify who he's talking about when he tells Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 that he has a goal that involves killing somebody, but it's very obvious that he's talking about Itachi here. Now, understanding how this motivation affects the rest of his character is key to getting a grasp on who Sasuke is as a person. While it's very easy to view his grudge against Itachi as a very generic revenge subplot, it's certainly a whole lot deeper than that, as the Uchiha clan massacre has a whole lot of implied secondary psychological effects on Sasuke throughout the series. It's shown to the audience through flashbacks that Sasuke was always a pretty quiet and nervous kid before his clan had been wiped out, so losing everyone he'd ever cared about turned him into a full-blown introvert. On top of that, the annihilation of his clan created more than just a personal hatred towards his older brother, as we can see through subtle bits of exposition that Sasuke doesn't just hate Itachi, he hates everything that Itachi stands for. There are many points in part 1 alone where Sasuke chooses not to do something solely because he sees it as something his brother would have done. While it's not outright stated in all of these cases, it's a very feasible explanation for most of them. When Sasuke shielded Naruto from Haku's needles, for example, he even says himself he has absolutely no idea why he did it, but it's pretty likely that he did this because he thinks it would be too much like Itachi to just let a comrade die right in front of him. After he breaks Zaku's arms using the power of the curse mark in the Forest of Death, we see that Sasuke is genuinely afraid of himself, as after realizing that he acted in such a barbaric and heartless manner, he probably instinctively compared himself to his brother. He tells Naruto during the battle against Gaara that he's not willing to watch any more of his comrades die in front of him, and prepares to continue fighting Gaara in what is essentially a suicide mission, all because he thinks the act of running away to preserve his own life when he could be saving the lives of his comrades is too much of an Itachi-like thing to do, and he refuses to kill Naruto to gain the Mangekyo Sharingan solely because that's what his brother asked him to do. Sasuke views doing this as a way of validating the way his brother gained power, and refuses to do it for this reason alone. Even by the end of part 1, it's made abundantly clear that Sasuke has created his own set of morals, and that he is vehemently opposed to doing anything he thinks his brother might do. Not because of his own personal hatred towards Itachi, but because he views him as the sole representation of everything that is wrong with the world. He sees Itachi as pure evil, evil, and for good reason, as at this point Itachi had made himself out to be an egomaniacal psychopath, a pure evil man with no pride or principles, who was concerned with no one other than himself. I think killing Itachi meant more than just getting revenge to Sasuke, as he felt almost morally obligated to kill his brother for the sake of making the world a better place. This is why at the beginning of Shippuden he seems like a completely different person than he is at its halfway point. As in part 1, there are many instances in Shippuden where Sasuke is clearly shown acting in a way that he believes his brother would not, as with the exception of during his encounter with Team 7, Sasuke makes it very clear that he doesn't believe in killing people or forcing them to do anything he asks them to. When he recruits the members of Hebi, for example, he doesn't force any of them to join him, and instead only takes them along with him if they agree to come. He also makes it a point not to kill anyone in his conquest to find Itachi, unless A, he sees them as just as bad as Itachi was in the first place, like with Orochimaru, or B, it's in self-defense, like with Deidara. There are also many small details throughout the series that support the idea that this is a moral conquest for Sasuke, and not a selfish fulfillment of revenge. He doesn't allow Sakura to come with him on his quest to kill Itachi because he believes it'd be too dangerous for her. He kills Orochimaru and expresses his disgust with him because of how similar he and Itachi are, and he expresses to various characters throughout the series who quell him from his quest for revenge that they don't understand what he's trying to do. And he outright refuses to allow anybody else to kill Itachi solely because he doesn't like the idea of somebody else shouldering what he believes to be his own moral burden. I definitely believe his interactions with Orochimaru are the best pieces of evidence here for this being a moral crusade as opposed to self-fulfillment. Initially, he was willing to let Orochimaru take his body if that meant he was able to kill Itachi, which does prove that he was willing to go to incredible lengths to ensure that Itachi was killed, but after spending so much time with Orochimaru, he learns that Orochimaru is no better than Itachi was, and that by giving him access to an Uchiha's body, he would just be gracing the world with a problem just as bad as Itachi was. He doesn't even kill Orochimaru out of self-defense, but because he believes it's just the right thing to do. He doesn't outright say many of these things because, as I've said before, the annihilation of his clan turned him into an introvert, so he doesn't feel the need to explain himself for the sake of the validation of others. On top of that, he even explains to Naruto that he doesn't think he, and by extension most people, would understand since they don't know what Sasuke knows. Sasuke's introversion also made his resolve to kill Itachi that much stronger, as by breaking any emotional ties that he had with other people, he was able to make the goal of killing Itachi all that he had to focus on. Due to the moral code he created for himself, I really don't think Sasuke thought ignoring Itachi's presence in the world was something he could do and still be in the right. Like I've said many times, I think he thought of it as a duty and felt morally obligated to kill Itachi to make the world a better place. Upholding his own morals was more important to him than anything else, which is why he prioritized killing Itachi over his own happiness, and also why at many points he prioritized the lives of others over his own. If this was a selfish conquest for revenge, Sasuke just flat out would not have risked his own life as many times as he did, and certainly not for the sake of other people. And now this is where we come to one of the most interesting character moments in the entire series, and what I personally believe to be one of the most interesting character moments in all of Shonen, when Sasuke learns the truth about Itachi from Obito. Hopefully I've established by now that Sasuke's entire code of morals was built around the idea that Itachi was an evil person. This means that everything about Sasuke as a person, the entire way that he's lived his life, needs to be redefined. His entire life was focused on the goal of killing Itachi. That is what he lived every day in pursuit of, and what he modeled his entire life around. After finding out that he was wrong and that he actually didn't know anything about Itachi, Sasuke goes through an existential crisis and has an on-screen mental breakdown. This is more than just Sasuke reacting in a fit of denial. He's having a full-blown panic attack. He digs his nails into his hair, sweat begins to drip from his body like crazy, his pupils dilute, and he starts screaming at Obito that everything he's saying is a flat-out lie. If there's one single scene in the entire series that lends credence to everything I've said in this video so far, it is this one right here. It is one of the best animated scenes in the entire series, and the attention to detail here is magnificent. The animators at Studio Perio took great care in ensuring that Sasuke's trauma would be communicated to the audience here, as he really begins to question who he is and what he's supposed to do with his life now. We even see him later, what must have been hours after the conversation with Obito, fully dressed and recovered, standing in a completely different location, still bawling his eyes out from the realization that Itachi was a good person. This realization causes Sasuke's character to pull a complete 180, as the previous perspective that he had on the world and everybody in it was shattered and replaced with a cynical outlook on life that made everybody seem like they couldn't be trusted. Killing people is no longer an off-the-table option for him now, since both Itachi, who he believed to be a good person now, and the Leaf Village, that he used to believe was full of good people, had done it on plenty of occasions. He makes the admittedly foolish
it
leap in
was-
logic. If they can do it, why can't I? This is why he kills so many samurai at the Five Kage Summit without remorse. At this point, he believes that warning somebody he will kill them if they don't get out of his way is enough to keep him on the moral high ground, as he moves tirelessly towards his new goal of destroy the Hidden Leaf Village. Many people see this as a very weird, haphazard jump for his character to
No.
make, and while I do sort
I
of
never thought
agree
it
that
was a
Sasuke
weird
was
jump.
acting a bit out of character during the Five Kage
Yeah,
Summit
a little
arc,
bit.
it does make a whole lot of sense for him to act this way, considering, again, he's having what essentially amounts to an existential crisis. Many people criticize Sasuke for constantly changing his philosophical view on the world, but he only does this when he is presented with loads and loads of new information.
That's true.
Many people seem to be under the impression that as soon as Sasuke found out that Itachi was a good person, he and Itachi began to share the same outlook on the world. This
No.
just isn't the case. As like I said
mean,
before,
it
Sasuke
is
killing
kinda
Itachi
obvious.
was what he believed to be doing the world a justice. It was a very small-scale goal and wasn't something that he thought would make a whole lot of a difference, but it was still something that he was in pursuit of tirelessly. When he finds out that Itachi wasn't actually the bad guy in this situation, Sasuke decides that he needs somewhere else to direct his anger. There was somebody that absolutely ruined his life, and the idea of letting whoever that was completely off the hook just doesn't sit right with him. Now, in the heat
yeah.
of the moment, Sasuke does struggle to figure out who it is that needs to be punished. Of course, this ends up being the Hidden Leaf Village, which he now believes to be just as evil as he originally thought Itachi was. However, as he finds out more and more information about what led to the annihilation of the Uchiha clan in the first place, the target for his anger becomes much more broad. As he learns more and more about the history of the shinobi world, he's forced to direct his anger at more and more people at once, which is why he goes from simply hating Itachi to hating the entire Leaf Village to
Oh
wanting to
shit, I
reform
just...
the entire...
Hold on, sorry, go back a second. I just noticed something. This was... okay, I can't believe... Like, I've read the manga so many times, and I can't believe I never noticed this. But look at Sasuke's eyes. That's his regular... Or that's his earlier Mangekyo pattern. But that shouldn't be the case because these aren't his eyes. These are Itachi's eyes. That should be the EMS, not his regular Mangekyo Sharingan. Goddamn, like I told you guys, I've read the manga so many times. I can't believe I never noticed this before. Shit.
Hating the entire Leaf Village to wanting to reform the entire shinobi world. There's a gradual escalation in his train of thought. Itachi only killed the members of the Uchiha clan because Danzo asked him to do it. But Danzo only took Shisui's eye and ended up forcing Itachi to do this because the Leaf Village was in such a sorry state. The only reason the Leaf Village was in such a bad state is because Obito had attacked it with the Nine Tails 17 years earlier. The only reason Obito attacked the Leaf Village with the Nine Tails 17 years earlier is because of the fact that Kakashi killed Rin. The only reason Kakashi was forced to kill Rin is because of the failed shinobi system that's been in place for so long, which is why Sasuke eventually comes to the
He decides
conclusion
that it all
the
needs to
entire
go
world's
away.
in need of reform. Even
Right.
after learning that Itachi was a good person, Sasuke doesn't simply decide, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just let everything go and go back to living in Konoha, because he wants to figure out what it was that caused him so much pain and at least make a little bit of a dent in the world, large enough to prevent the same thing that happened to him from happening to anybody else like him. As he learns more and more about what led to the Uchiha clan massacre, the size of the dent that he needs to make seems to become larger and larger, which as a result causes his ambitions to become greater and greater. At first, the solution to this is kill Itachi, but it eventually escalates to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village, and then further to, I need to reform the entire shinobi world as we know it. So hopefully this video has given you at least a little bit of insight into the psyche of Sasuke Uchiha. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about what I think. As always, if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you subscribe to get updates on when I
This
upload
was
new
good.
content.
This was
And if you
really
enjoyed the
good,
video,
as always.
Maybe make sure
Why
you
am I
like. As
why am I
always, thank you
surprised?
guys for watching the video all the way to the end. I appreciate it so much. Leave a comment below with any ideas for future video topics you want me to cover, and if I like it enough, I'll definitely make sure to tackle it in the future. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Hope to see you in my next video, and I'll talk to you later. Swagkage out. Bye.
Welcome to
What? Oh, Jesus Christ, fuck this. You guys already know what this is. You don't need me to tell you. Let me just see this. And stop. Yeah, repetitive. Seen this way too many times. Pause. There you go. Fucking Raid Shadow Legends. You guys already know what it is. You don't need me to tell you. You've probably seen their ads on God knows how many videos. Anyway, yeah, that was a really good video. And look, here's the thing. He raised a lot of interesting points. Although there is one thing that I kind of want to mention a little bit. Let me just see if I can go back to it. And it was in regards to this moment when he talked about how Sasuke jumped in front of Naruto, in front of Haku's attack in order to protect Naruto. Now, he made the point that one of the reasons why the main reason why he did it is because he thought that just letting Naruto, get injured and die. Although we know later on that Naruto wouldn't have died because Haku, he doesn't have it in him to take someone else's life. Because that's not what he wants to do. Me personally, I've always thought that this moment reminds me a lot of their battle at the end of part one. And there was a moment that I think a lot of people overlooked, and I wouldn't blame them if they did. It is kind of like a blink and you'll miss it moment, and I think it's mostly in the anime. I don't think it was in the manga. But if you go back and you look at that final Chidori Rasengan clash, after they move past each other, like it looked like Sasuke was going for his heart. But if you go back and if you really look, you'll see that for a second Sasuke realizes that he's about to pierce Naruto's heart. And yeah, Naruto may be a Jinchuriki and he has like Kurama's healing ability, but even then, like I don't think Naruto would have survived a blow to the heart. Like that would have killed him. And I think Sasuke knew that. That's why in that instant he changed his hand from a jab to a fist so that it would damage Naruto, maybe enough to knock him out, but not enough to kill him. And to me, like when I look at that moment and then I look at this moment, to me it always told you that even though Sasuke always went about saying that he doesn't care about Naruto at that point, at least not to the point that Naruto does. And he keeps trying to move on from him, he keeps trying to cut ties with him. To me, it always seemed like deep down Sasuke didn't actually want that. Deep down Sasuke could never actually cut that connection that he had with Naruto, because on some level he realizes that he doesn't actually want what he keeps saying that he wants. And I think that at the end, it's probably one of the reasons why Sasuke was even if you go to the end of the fight between him and Naruto Shippuden, or at the end of the Naruto manga, at the end of part 2, I think that one of the reasons why Sasuke never actually could kill him, especially during their last battle, which is that because again, at the end of the day, Sasuke deep down didn't want to cut Naruto out of his life, because he at the end of the day he doesn't actually want that, no matter how many times he keeps saying that he wants it. It almost feels like he's almost trying to convince himself as opposed to him trying to convince someone else. But that's just my take on it. If you guys disagree with me on that, completely fine. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And remember, guys, to leave a like and share the video if you want to support me. And if you're new here, please consider clicking on the subscribe button and share the video if you want more people to find this video, and in order to drive more traffic to my channel, because YouTube really likes it. It'll help with the algorithm. But anyway, I'm just going to end this video right here, guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, remember to stay safe and take care of yourselves, and join me for the next reaction. Bye for now.